Hello, my Slumber Party listeners. It's your host, Tim Murray, and you're listening to and or watching the podcast where I interview drag queens, comedians, and Broadway stars about their slumber party experiences growing up. And of course, it's October. We gotta get witchy in here again. I know we've been craving it. We've been craving to return to the alpha buzz. And honey, do I have a guest in store for you? You know her from, ever heard of Hadestown on Broadway? I'm thinking, yeah. Ever heard of In Transit on Broadway? Ever heard of Alphaba? Because we have such an Alphaba here for you today, and somebody that went to my same college. We got a University of Miami Kane alum. Please welcome to the stage, Mariand Torres.
Hello.
Marianne, thank you so much for doing this. How are you?
I'm great. I'm very happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. How does it feel being on Broadway again?
It feels wild. It was
Yeah.
the last thing I expected this year. It kind of came up as a surprise. So it's wild is all I can say. I was just like happy shows were going to reopen. I didn't expect to be in one. So that's really cool. My husband and I, this is wild. Actually, when Hadestown had announced it was reopening September 2nd, I was like, Nick, we got to buy tickets. Like, you have, my husband's on tour with Come From Away. So I was like, that's the one show you have to see before you go back on tour.
Oh my
I
God.
did not know I was going to be in it. So we bought tickets for opening week. And
That's
then
crazy.
here I am. Yeah, it was wild.
Wait, that's so much fun. I love you,
I
like,
know.
really put that in the universe.
I mean, I manifested the fuck out of that.
You sure did. You sure did. Okay, first of all, your husband is so hot. And you guys are so cute together. I love
Thank you.
looking at your Instagram. I'm always like, oh my God, look at them just like enjoying the fall weather. That's what I often say out loud. Look at that hot couple enjoying the fall weather.
Enjoying those autumnal leaves and yeah. We do really like autumn. That's so funny. I was actually just talking about it with him this morning and I was like, oh, it's fucking fall again. You have to come into town. Like we have to go on a hike. So yeah,
Yes.
you did. Yeah. This is definitely our brand is like autumnal hikes and
You're such cuties. How did you meet?
so he's actually from Miami as well.
Uh
And yeah, he was acting in Miami at the time. He'd kind of been back and forth between Miami and New York. And then I went down to Miami to do a production of Murder Ballad at Actors Playhouse. And we just had a bunch of mutual friends. So he had friends that were in the show and he came to see it. And then totally like was obsessed with me and came and saw the show again and again. It's so embarrassing for him. I'm like, oh my God, you
How
had such a crush on me.
embarrassing.
Ugh.
He's standing outside with his playbill. Picture, please. Picture, please. You did your first autumnal photo when he was fangirling you at the stage door.
There's no autumn in Miami, please.
Oh, that is so true. Wait, did you grow up in Miami or just go to college?
Yes, I did. No, I grew up in Miami.
Oh my God. Where in Miami?
In the suburbs in Kendall. It's like,
Heck yes.
yeah, not as glamorous. People think if you grow up in Miami, you grew up like, I don't know, somewhere really cool and like going to I don't know, like I grew up in the suburbs, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I went to the macaroni grill and did all the suburban shit, you know?
All the same
It
shit
just
people
has
do in
like
the
a Caribbean
Midwest.
flair. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you're like, I was at that Cheesecake Factory in the Grove. That's my
Right. We
that was
just
my
all
grove.
like spoke with thick Spanish accents, but like we were doing the same things everyone else was in America.
Wait, but do you know, not to embarrass you, but do you know you're kind of a Miami icon? Like, you really are. Okay,
Hilarious.
you are. I mean, there's only so many Miami alum that have, like, first of all, been on Broadway, like,
Yeah.
went to go on to be like, big successful Broadway people. And I think Miami is very well known for putting out like really strong actors and continues to do so. And you are obviously a really strong actor, but oh, we got to dive in. The voice. Have you just always been able to sing like that? Like, what on earth, girl?
Um, I don't know. I was kind of a late bloomer. I I like I used to always really like singing when I was a kid, but I was also like painfully shy and socially awkward, which I still am. I just like know how to function now. Um but I never like thought it was special or cool that I could sing. I just thought like everyone can sing. Like I didn't think it was special. I really didn't. And I sounds obnoxious because I'm like, oh, it was just so natural for me. And that's not what I mean, but it's like, it kind of felt easy. So I just figured that everyone can just like do that. Right.
Yeah.
Um, I, again, like growing up, first generation from the like Dominican, nobody, like musical theater is not a thing in the Dominican Republic. Or like Latin America, really, not so much as it is American. And so that I had never like any exposure or access to that at all. So I just liked to sing. And it wasn't until I got to high school, like my sophomore year of high school, that I was like, maybe I'll try out for the choir so I can make friends because I'm really fucking awkward and shy. And if I'm like in a club, then I can meet people easier. Like if I'm in a small space, I will do better. So then I auditioned for my choir in my sophomore year of high school and was like, "Oh, okay, I can do this." And then my choir teacher was like kind of the one who was like pushing me to do more. And then I ended up at the University of Miami because my senior year, I didn't know what I wanted to do for college or like with my life. I just thought I would go to the local university, Florida International University, and like study like, I don't know, business or law or something. And my choir friend was like, I'm going to audition for the musical theater program at the University of Miami. And I literally said, what's that? And she said, like Les Mis and Rent. And I was like, well, that's a cool way to spend years. So then I auditioned for and here we are. I'm glad it
Oh
worked
my
out.
God. Yeah, I wish every theater program underneath their like, this is our theater program, I wish they all said, like Les Mis and Rent.
Like Les Mis and Rent. And I dreamed a dream from Les Mis for my audition, which is like a 21-year-old girl singing that song. Like I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know what that song was about.
Oh my God, I love that. Also, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm very surprised that you were shy. I've only met you in person like a couple of
Really?
times. Yeah. But it was like always, I think at like a senior showcase or with like our mutual friends like Xavier Cano or Ariana Hepner or something like at a bar. And you don't
Mhm.
seem shy to me. You seem very outgoing. So that's funny that you had that experience.
Yeah. Oh God, I'm getting a thing that says my internet connection is unstable. Hold on.
Oh no.
Am I okay? Am I like freezing at all, or are you getting a good?
It was a little bit, but now you're good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm like, what is it, like an extroverted introvert or something? It really depends on my mood and how you catch me that day. Like, yeah, and I think when I'm with like comfortable people I'm comfortable with, then it's definitely different. But like in new environments, like I'm the person at the first day of rehearsal. If there's like a table with like bagels and coffee, I hang out by that table because I want to look busy and like I'm doing something because I get really freaked out by like having to introduce myself to a bunch of new people. So yeah.
Whoa, I'm the exact same way. Like
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think that I think a lot of people describe me as very outgoing and very extroverted, but for whatever reason, in new situations, especially like I've been teaching improv in rehab centers lately. And it's like
That's amazing.
it's fucking awesome, Marianne. Like it's the best job I've ever had. It feels incredible. I love doing it. But part of the job is to like really, I'm not a therapist, I'm an improv teacher,
Right.
but it is like group therapy. So part of the job is to like really make people feel comfortable and relate to them and make them feel relaxed.
Hmm.
And the first time I go to a new place, which is often, I'm like freaking out.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do I say to these people? And then by the second or third time, once we like played a bunch of games and got to know each other, I'm like a completely different person. But that first
Mm-hmm.
time is like so hard.
I know. I think it's like a touch of imposter syndrome too. There's like a part of you that's like, do I belong here? Do people like, are people going to think I belong here? Do I just, there's like
Yeah.
this, and then you eventually sort of are like, yes, I do. This is going to be great. And, like, I am worthy, or like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
definitely belong here and I'm where I'm supposed to be. But I think it takes me a second. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that we share that because it's such a fun thing. And
Hmm.
okay, back to Miami, not to embarrass you again, but I have to tell you, I had a recording. Zach Orts, my college roommate, had a recording of you in falsettos in college at the Jerry Ring Theater, singing "I'm Breaking Down" that I put on my old school iPod and would
Oh,
I
iPods.
would run the campus loop listening to you sing before I knew you, listening to you singing "I'm Breaking Down." I'm not kidding. It was like in my top 5 running songs that I would listen to. And I'd be like, one day I'm gonna be friends with this girl. I'm gonna meet her. It's gonna happen. That I mean, uh, when you were leaving Miami, where you're like, I'm doing the Broadway thing. I've got the voice. I'm gonna like. Did you know Wicked was gonna be in your future? I guess is my big question. Were you like, I'm
um,
going in for Alphaba?
Not okay. So I kind of left Miami with a lot of self-esteem issues. Uh, not gonna lie, full transparency. Like, I had a hard time. So I don't know. I didn't really know where I fit. I think also at that time, man, things have changed. We were still at a time in our industry and in our world where like there was an obsession over type. Um, and it was this really interesting thing because I remember like having these meetings with teachers, like your senior year, you sort of discuss like what your type is. And I remember there was an exercise where it was like, whose career are you sort of looking at as like a guide? You know what I mean? Like whose career
Totally.
not do you want to have, but you know what I mean? Like you look at those people that you're like, okay, they sort of do what I do.
How do you fit? Yeah.
Yeah. And I was always pushed to just look at other Latinas. So then literally somebody told me, like, look at Rosie Perez's career. What the fuck do I have in common with Rosie Perez? Besides the fact that we're Latin women. Like,
Right.
it just makes no sense. So even like really little things like discussing rent. I am a Maureen. And now I'm
100%.
old. Now I'm Maureen's mom. But I at the time I'm not a Mimi. Like that's not who I am. That's not what I do. That's not my voice. But like I was pushed into like, well, you would play Mimi in Rent. And I was like, but that's not like my skill set. So then I left feeling very confused about what I had to contribute and where I would fit in this business. What's hilarious is that I haven't been in any of the Latin shows on Broadway. That has not been my career at all. Like I have FOMO. I have like Latin Broadway FOMO because I don't feel like I'm a part of it. Like so that's hilarious because it was such a focal point when I was in college and then I got here and I was like nobody's hired me to play a Latina. And like I actually want to be. I am also like very proud of my culture and I'm Latin as fuck, but I am glad that I have just kind of been cast as a human who has certain skills. I also went to see Wicked, the original cast. It was I'm gonna age myself. Was it my junior year? Junior or senior year of college? We went, like, do you remember those trips to New York? I don't know if you did them with your classmates and you'd come for a weekend and see like 25 shows. You like wouldn't sleep. You take the
Spend
6 a.m.
all your
flight.
money. Oh yeah,
Spend all
buy
your
the
money.
Spring Awakening merch, buy the
Exactly.
shirts.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. It's so embarrassing. When I was just home in Miami, I found a picture frame that said like Broadway and it had like all the little marquee signs. And I was like, I guess I thought I was going to put that up in my living room in New York. Like, how embarrassing.
You paid
But
like $100 for from I found it at the Colony. May she
yeah,
rest.
I think I like bought one of those pictures of Times Square that those people draw on the streets and sell. Like, it was bad. Um, but I saw the original cast of Wicked. I saw it with Xavier Cano and Joshua Henry and Ceci Torres. I don't know if you know her, but she also graduated with me. And we sat like there about second to last row on the balcony. House left. I'll never forget it. And we got, intermission happened and we're all just like, what? Oh my God. And Xavier turned to me and was like, you're going to do that one day. And I was like, oh, you're kidding. No way. That's too hard. So I had no idea. I don't know. I think I was just very confused about my ability and where I'd fit. And I was like, well, Adina Menzel's not Hispanic. So like, I'm never going to get to play that role. What's hilarious is that Eden was her standby, like a Latin woman, but I didn't know. Like, I don't know. So yeah, long story short, I had no idea that that was in my future. I wasn't really aware of my abilities in a way. I don't know. It was weird.
I
Yeah.
mean, I fully so much to unpack about that and really appreciate you sharing that because
I feel like we have shared trauma.
we really do have shared trauma for sure. Yeah, a lot of what you're saying is really ringing for me in a lot of ways. And
Mhm.
I just want to say I'm sorry that that happened. It's like for you and for so many, I think people of color, especially who go through theater programs, period, across the
Yeah.
country, it's like that is not cool at all to be boxing people in based on their race and making them feel white people telling other people of color like about where they fit in is fucked up. Like
Yeah, it doesn't yeah.
it's just it's so fucked. And I think in a bigger scale, just like what we've seen on Broadway for 100 years and just until like I don't know this last year when we're finally like starting to have a racial reckoning and talking about this stuff is like so messed up. So I'm glad that you're bringing it to light. And I am so glad that you played Alphaba. And I think so many people are so glad that you played Alphaba. And I think there's something to what you're saying as well of like, I mean, yeah, you saw Adina and you were like, well, that's a white woman. And yes, Eden was the standby, but like there's a big conversation happening right now of like, when are we going to get a black woman as Alphaba full time? Like, it like your point, I think, is like very real of like if you see yourself represented only as the standby, then that is kind of limiting for young
Yeah.
Latinx girls and young black girls if that's what they're seeing. So like I want
Mhm.
to see a full-time Latina Alphaba on Broadway and I want to see a full-time black Alphaba on Broadway. There's so much work to be done.
Yeah. And I have
um
to say, like, going even into like my situation, I'm a Latin woman, I'm an immigrant, but like I fully recognize my privilege. Like, I am a light-skinned Latin woman. A lot of people don't know what I am or where I come from, and like even I know my experience is not the same as women who have really, or humans who have really had to deal with racial inequality. I'm still on the privilege side of things, and like, yeah. And there have been, it's I feel like I think Eden said it once somewhere where she was like, I am a palatable person of color to white people. It's that thing of like, I'm still somewhere where people can like kind of pat themselves on the back and be like, I cast a woman whose last name is Torres and she's like not Caucasian, but like we need more African American and Black Latino representation
mm,
as well.
hell yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's a whole other can of worms to
Yeah.
unpack. But like, it's always like interesting when I am referred to as a person of color. Like, I understand that, but I also, in that, like, I know I am aware of my privilege and in the world. And when I go to the Dominican Republic, which is where I'm from and where my family is from, I'm a white woman, you
Mm,
know?
interesting.
In
Yeah.
America, yeah, it's this weird thing, in the United States, I'm not considered that, but in the Dominican Republic, I am. Um,
Interesting.
but so that's a whole other conversation. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of privilege, we have had the privilege of hearing many different versions of you singing Defy Gravity
Oh
on
boy.
YouTube.
Oh boy. I
The-
just like pretend. I know that I'm so cagey and weird about it. Whenever you've messaged me and been like, I'm listening to you sing Defying Gravity, I feel like I just respond with like awkward emojis. I have to say, like, the YouTube wicked internet world terrifies me. I will fully admit that I am way too sensitive for that shit, and like I just pretend it doesn't exist because like I don't want to read some troll being like, she's not good at this person and blah blah blah. And I know it doesn't matter, but I just generally, for like my mental health, just kind of like don't even acknowledge those videos. But I'm like, you know, thank you for the compliments. I'm sure I hope they're good. They just terrify me. YouTube like very much scares me.
That makes full sense. Okay, first of all, they are so good. Like I can't even
Thank you.
begin to
That's
tell you.
okay.
I'm so glad they exist because I love that I get to experience them all of the time. When I'm washing the dishes, I like have you in my ears, which is so wonderful. But I also fully recognize that, and that's been a common theme with every single alphabet that I've had on here.
I
And I think
bet.
it's like another important thing to talk about. Like, what the hell is going on the internet? Like, why are we subjecting ourselves to this? I've like been going viral on TikTok, brag, this last like couple of weeks.
Excuse me.
Let's shift gears here. I've been going viral. But it comes at honestly a price that I don't want to pay. Is the is the
Yeah.
is the way I would describe it, and I fully understand that from every alphabet that's been on here being like, I don't want to see those videos. I don't want to see certainly don't want to see the comments on those videos because, like, I heard you say, like, oh, I know it doesn't matter. We can all say that to ourselves. And yet there's something about like our cave person brains, our survival brains, that negative stuff is the stuff that resonates with us.
Of course. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to believe the compliments, I have to believe the negative ones too. It's what people say about reviews. If I'm going to choose to believe the good reviews, and don't I have to believe the bad ones? And it's not that we're not interested in feedback, because I am. Like I never feel like I always feel like I can improve, I'm never somebody that's like, well, that's it, I'm done. Like to the very last moment, up to my last performance as Elphaba, I was looking for things to improve upon. So I'm never somebody who's like complacent and just like, I've made it. But like you just don't want to read mean things about yourself.
No, that makes full
And you
sense.
just want to defend yourself, and every alphaba, like I jump to the defensive about every woman who plays alphaba now in this way that's like very intense, because
What were your slumber parties like growing up?
oh, they were loud. That's what I remember about them, is that like I have a very vivid memory of my grandmother knocking on the door and telling us to be quiet. They were very giggly. I have to say, they were like definitely a little like mean girly, which I hate. I think that's like very much a Miami thing. Um, but I definitely had like the one friend in middle school that now I'm like, why was I friends with her? That was just kind of mean. She was like the really pretty popular one. And she would just
Nice.
like tell us what was wrong with us. So she'd be like, your forehead's really flat. Um,
Oh, speaking of trauma, okay.
So they were a little mean girly and then very like, giggly and loud. Those are like the things I remember about my slumber parties.
That is so, your forehead's really flat is like
Yeah,
such
I
a
remember somebody gave me a complex about my forehead being really flat, which like I don't even know what that means.
I don't either.
Or like my eye, I don't even know. I mean, kids are terrible sometimes to each other.
Terrible. Terrible. That is wild. What were your like, what were Little Marianne's like movies like that you would, or who were your like celeb crushes as a kid?
Oh my God. Freddie Prince Jr., She's All That. I was a really
Oh
big
my
fan of that.
God.
I don't know if that's a little bit before your time.
Nope.
I
That
also
is
was,
right in my sweet spot.
mhm.
That movie.
um, I also just love how she was like a beautiful girl and she just had glasses on and then they took glasses off her and everyone was like, oh,
She's got glasses and a
like now she's
ponytail.
pretty.
What
Yeah,
a
they put her hair
freak.
down. Exactly. I'm like, that's how I live every day. Like I was actually just wearing glasses, but the ring light was on them, so I'd take them off. But that I also I've been thinking about the movie The Craft a lot. Were you into The
Okay.
Craft?
What a perfect movie to be bringing up right
In
now. Go on, go
October.
on.
And I
In
have to say,
October.
this is so annoying, but like I think about that movie a lot, being one of the fates in Hadestown. I kind of channel the really crazy one, the girl with the eyes who's always kind of smiling, but she looks insane.
Ooh.
Do you know who I'm talking about? I have to find a
Yes.
picture of her because
Yes.
she's terrifying.
Yeah.
Um, and that's I think about her face often during in Hadestown. Like I'm always kind of like that's who I want to be.
I imagine you before you belt. I imagine you and the other women who are with you in a like a circle backstage with a little fire going, these are my gifts. These are all my gifts.
It's
Before
her.
you belt.
I don't know if you can see her. This.
Faruza Bulk. Yep.
Yes. Oh,
So terrifying.
so terrifying.
She's
I love
amazing
her.
in that movie.
Amazing.
She's
Yeah. So that's
so
like
good.
how I try to look at Eurydice sometimes.
Oh my God. I love that. I love that movie so much. When I was still living in New York, my friends Jay Johnson and Ben Fankhauser and Mike Milan and I used to play every October we'd play Light as a Feather, Stiff as a Board. And as adults, not like as not slumber party teenagers. Like we would go to each other's houses and we were or apartments and we would play Light as a Feather, Stiff as a Board. And when I tell you, we would do it on a chair, and people would rise almost up to the ceiling with
No.
just our fingers. I swear, it was so scary. It
That
was so
actually
scary.
yeah.
I know, isn't that bizarre? I don't know what
Yeah.
it is about like your energy through your fingers that it's like able to do that, but like full grown men rising all the way up into the sky.
So you too have played Elphaba.
Many times. Many times.
You too have levitated.
I certainly have. I certainly have witchy energy. I love that you brought up The Craft. What a perfect Halloween movie.
Speaking of Halloween, Tim, I have to tell you, I bring it up often. I show it to people often. The best Halloween costume I have ever seen is you as a Stephanie Block YouTube clip.
Thank
I
you.
mean, it's actually like popped up on my Facebook memories the other day because I think I had like taken a screenshot of it and like reposted it on my Facebook because I
Oh
was
my
so
God.
obsessed with it. Cause it's everything about it. It's like the search thing, and then the videos that come up on the side. There's like one that's just like belt, and they're literal belts. It's really incredible, and I'm obsessed with it, and I have been for years. I show it to people just at random. I'm
Oh
like,
my
you guys have
God.
to see this Halloween costume. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was definitely my favorite of all time. I also, a lot of people don't know this part of it, but I was wearing short booty shorts. So my leg was very exposed. And then I had giant boots on because I was a boot leg of the rebellion.
Oh, it's so good. It just gets better.
And I went to a huge Halloween warehouse party where they were doing like a costume contest and they picked the 20 best costumes there, and nobody picked, I wasn't top 20, And
I
I
would have
was
burned
like,
that shit to the ground. I'm sorry. I'm furious.
I was like, competition isn't real. This is stupid. I know this is the best costume I've ever had in my life.
Yes.
It
Yes.
really, oh my God. Thank you for saying that. That really was, a comedian friend of mine recently said that seals your legacy. That will be your
Mhm.
legacy. Like when you die, people will be talking about that Halloween costume.
Also, I'm just, we're just going to give you props because you deserve them. The game, the Fiero game video, what was that game called? I forget.
Um, there was like a cootie catcher or like future teller. People call it different
Mhm.
things.
But when you're like, Nessa, it's so good, and then you see the Fiero, and then it's so good. That also came up on my Facebook
I
memory.
forgot about that one. I need to repost that soon.
You
That
need
was
to repost it. It's so good. It's the
thank you.
Fiero, the anticipation, and then the excitement. Oh, big fan,
So
Tim.
stupid.
Big fan.
Oh, thank you so much. Vice versa. I I don't know what I'm gonna be for Halloween this year, and it's really stressing me out.
I'm sure. I mean, the pressure's on.
The pressure is really on. My other favorite one, I think, was 2 or 3 years ago. I went as Michelle Branch, and I had a T-shirt on with a tree that I had designed, that I had like had printed out with Michelle Kwan, Michelle Obama, Michelle Williams, a bunch of different Michelles, and then a bunch of tree branches that I collected. That was Michelle
That's pretty good.
Branch,
That's
and
yeah,
that was my other like really favorite one, honestly. But
yeah.
yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do this year, and it's really stressing me out.
What do you do when you've peaked? Like, was that it? Was that your
Yeah, was that is it all downhill
is
from
it
here? I'm
all
thinking
over?
probably, yeah. I'm thinking almost certainly yes. Um uh, do you remember any of your, oh, we said your first crush was like Freddie
Freddie
Prince
Prinze Jr.
Jr. That
Oh, also
movie.
Zach Morris on Saved by the Bell. I
Oh, no one has ever said that on this podcast. Yeah. To this day, blondes don't really do it for me in general,
Me
but
neither.
something about maybe because he was the peak, and it's like you're never gonna be Zach.
Hmm. Yeah, I've
He's
never really
so
been
hot.
like he's not generally my type. Like,
Yeah.
my husband is like dark and brooding and like has like a shaved head. But I had such a crush on Zach Morris. I was also just hardcore, really into Saved by the Bell. Do you know what's hilarious? Like, watch Saved by the Bell now. Oh, it's so funny.
Is it
It's
terrible?
it's so bad and it's funny. Um, perhaps have a drink or other activities. Yeah,
Substances, yeah.
other substances that make you
Substances.
giggle and make you hungry. Um,
Mm.
and watch Saved by the Bell. Oh, it's so bad. It's so good. Oh my God.
Girl,
Yeah.
my whole aesthetic in this life, like everything that brings me joy, is that theme palette from Saved by the Bell. The yellow squiggly lines, the purples,
Pink.
the turquoise, the
Yes.
pink. Just like that's what
Yes.
I want my apartment to look like, is white.
Oh God, that's very like also like old Miami Art Deco vibe.
Yes, yes, that's exactly. That
You
is
need
probably
like a
why I wanted
neon
to go to
palm
Miami
tree.
so bad. Yes, I want a neon palm tree. I want like early '90s
Hmm.
fabulousness. Oh,
Yeah.
love it. Love it. We have to wrap up soon, but before we go, we play a game that I like to call, excuse me.
Mm,
Wait, let's have fun.
okay. I hate you.
So I'm gonna give you a couple slumber party games for wait, let's have fun. This
Okay.
isn't so much a game, but this one, but I was apparently in a really dark Black Mirror kind of place this morning when I created this for this would you rather for you. Would
Okay.
you rather never be able to belt again or never be able to act again? So if you choose never act again, you literally like can't be in a play. You could go do concerts, but even when you're doing the concert, you can't act the song out. You have to stand there and sing. No emotions.
Oh
Or
God.
I know, or if you choose sing and never sing again, you can like still do plays and stuff, but you can't even sing in the shower or sing on a road trip or anything.
How dare you?
I know
This is
this is hard.
terrible.
This is
No,
a
I'm
horrible one.
legitimately really stressed out because there's a part of me that's like, God, it'd be really nice to like not worry about my voice. Like there is a part of me that's like, it'd be really cool to not like wake up and not have to be like every fucking day of my life.
Yeah.
I guess that's what the last 18 months were like, just not
Yeah.
having to sing.
Yeah.
Um, not having to sing, it's obviously a joy, but when you do it for work, it like becomes stressful.
So
But then not
stressful. Yeah.
acting. Oh,
You can also answer this however you want. There's no, you could be
I
like,
know. I
F you,
take
Tim,
things
I'm not
really
doing either one.
seriously and I like to follow rules and I'm like, I have to answer it. I've committed to this. Oh my God. I'm gonna say act just because I've been singing my whole life. And like not my whole life, but it's like kind of what brought me into this.
Mm.
So I can't imagine not doing it. And I guess I could still have a career like recording things. I do
Ooh, yeah.
enjoy performing in a play, like doing concerts, standalone concerts is not my favorite, to be honest.
Oh, really?
I always prefer like being in a play and telling a story. So I don't know. I guess I'm going to say belting. I'm going to say I'd rather never act again, but I don't really mean it.
Okay, great. It is interesting what you said about like singing just bringing you into this. I think is so cool. Singing is like also so therapeutic.
It
Like
is. It is.
in
I
the
can't like perform a monologue for myself to like unwind.
right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
But if you're like belting in the shower, it's really like, and I realized recently I follow when I do the improv for recovery stuff, I follow a lot of people who do breath work. And I was like,
Mm,
oh, singing is breathing.
yep.
Like you're like breathing so much in and then letting it's the similar to like
Mhm, mhm.
but to
Yeah.
music. Like that's why it
Yeah.
feels so freaking good to
Yeah, I
sing.
have to say, I think the singing, I'd have to stick with the singing because it's like more therapeutic. I think it feels more like
Yeah.
where I sort of like can release a lot. So,
I honestly, I would pick the same. I would
yeah.
pick the same because, like, I mean, the biggest acting nerd on the planet. I freaking love acting. Like, late at night, what am I doing? I'm watching Sandra Oh monologues from Grey's Anatomy and just like watching that over and over again.
Mhm.
But I'm also watching alphabet videos, so I don't know. I'm also a huge singing nerd, but
You
I
contain multitudes.
I contain most of the. You know what? Fuck this question. That was a terrible question. Where we get to keep both.
Yeah.
So who cares? Okay. Now I have a Mary F kill for you. Now,
Oh, I love these.
I had one planned for you already, and now I'm going to change it.
Oh God.
I had one planned for you, but I'm going to, based on our conversation, I want to switch it up a little bit. Okay. Mary F kill Zach Morris in Saved by the Bell,
Hmm.
Freddie Prinze Jr. in She's All That,
Hmm.
and Freddie Prinze Jr. in I Know What You Did Last Summer.
I don't remember Freddie Prinze Jr. and I know what you did last summer.
Okay, you got to rewatch that movie first of all.
Okay.
This it's October. It's time for you.
I know.
It's
I know. It's been
so
so long.
so good.
I know. It's been a very long time. So I feel like I can't answer the can you give me a last one? Another one?
Yes,
'Cause I feel like
yes.
I can't answer the question honestly, Tim, and I'd really like to, you know.
And you know what? And you know what? It's not fair to give you two Freddys. So let's do Zach and Saved by the Bell, Freddie Prinze Jr. and She's All That, and Ryan Phillippe and Cruel Intentions.
Mm,
Do you know that movie?
yes, of course. That's probably another slumber party movie for me. Did you see
Oh,
the musical when it was here a few were you in New York?
I didn't see it in New York, but I was in Edinburgh,
Hmm.
Scotland, and they did it at the Fringe Festival, and so I got to see it there.
It was so much fun.
So
I had a
fun.
bunch of friends in it and they were like, get really drunk and come see it. I thought the song choices were brilliant for it.
So good. Every
I
song
thought
that
it
came
was
on, I
so
was like,
fun.
well, this is my favorite
Yes,
song.
I
This is my
know.
favorite song.
Um, okay. I marry Freddie Prinze Jr. in She's All That.
Okay.
I think I F Zach Morris because he's like kind of a douche, but he's cute. So I would just like, do that and then be like, okay, bye.
Hmm.
And then I think I'd have to kill Ryan Phillippe in Cruel Intentions because he just seems like a little douchey, little pretentious little shit. I don't know. I know he comes around at the end, but even then, I'm just not sold on him. I was never really sold on him.
Yeah. Actually, there's kind of the theme for the 90s. They were all kind of douchey,
They
pretentious little
were douchebags.
shits.
Yeah, they were little
Fr-
assholes.
Freddie
Yeah,
Prince's character and She's All That is like such a gross. I mean, it's so
yeah.
gross that they did that to her. And Zach Morris was also like a little
A douche.
douche.
They
Yeah.
all suck. I think I just like, if I have to spend the rest of my life with one, I guess like I was really into Freddie Prince Jr. Like I was really very much. So I think I'd have to spend my life with Freddie Prince.
Yeah, you gotta do it. That's
I
so
just gotta
funny.
do it.
He's one of like the top three like heartthrobs that never did it for me. Freddie
Really.
Prince, we'd be friends. We'd be friends in middle school because we wouldn't be fighting over the same boys.
Yeah. I
He
love
never
that.
did it for me. I don't know why. I just yeah, Ryan Phillippe really did it for me though. He was
Interesting.
really
Okay.
like, I think there was something about the bad boy energy. Freddie Prince seems like a good boy at heart.
Yeah, and I think that makes me feel safe. I
That's
like I
good.
like
That's
feeling
good.
safe. Hmm.
Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah. Okay, this was so much fun. Thank you so much for joining me. Where can the people follow you if you want them to follow you on the internet? And if not, that's okay
I'm
too.
I'm no longer on Twitter because I find it horrifying. But I am on Instagram and yeah. Oh, there's my dog. I don't post that much on Instagram, but I'm there. And this is the worst plug in the world. I'm like, you occasionally want to see some pictures of me and my dog and my husband, and maybe sometimes what I'm in, what I'm doing. But yeah, Instagram. Yeah.
Heck yes. Hit on Instagram. And I also am not on Twitter. My account was deactivated because I tweeted gay bartenders talking shit on their coworkers and then a clip of she's always late for everything except for every meal. How to solve a problem like Maria.
Yeah.
And Twitter decided it was a violated copyright law, so they deactivated my account. But I will say I'm so much happier being off of it. It's been like almost 3 months now, and I don't
Yeah.
have random people on the internet uh, replying to my tweets saying I'm not funny or that I'm ugly. And I'm like, oh,
Oh God.
this is
Why?
feels so much better to not have that every day.
Yeah, to just not like be, yeah,
Yeah,
harassed and yelled at
harassed by fucking strangers.
by
So
strangers who are like probably, I like to picture these people just like in their mom's basement, like eating
it's that.
Doritos
It's
and
that.
drinking Mountain Dew, and they're just miserable.
They're not well. Doing my job now has been actually really healing for that kind of stuff because I see people who are like really going through it. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, it's so easy for you to lash out on other people,
of course.
especially on a keyboard when you don't have people in when you're like, so I am now I'm trying to tell myself to take pity on these people because
Yeah.
obviously anyone saying that's shit to you on the internet is like they're going through their own thing, but it's also
Yep.
like we don't have to take it on. We don't have to
No,
read that stuff.
no.
So yeah, I highly recommend just getting rid of your Twitter as well. I think it feels
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
um
really.
Thank you so much, and I hope I can see you in person very soon.
Yeah. Are you in LA or in New York? You're in LA,
i'm in
right?
I'm in LA, but my boyfriend just got Aladdin on Broadway, so I will be back a ton. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's
Yay.
his Broadway debut. It's so exciting.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Um, well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for doing it.
Uh,
And yeah, I'll see you soon.
okay. Bye.
Bye.